So the topic for today is how can I diagnose injuries online compared to when I was working in person as a physiotherapist. So most of the diagnosis in the initial assessment actually comes from the questions we're asking the client or the patient. So things like their previous medical history, their pain scores, what particular activities are causing the pain, is the pain coming on during that activity, is it coming on afterwards, how long is it lasting for, is it affecting their sleep. There's a load of other factors and a load of questions that we run through. Once we've gone through those, we have a pretty good idea of what's going on in terms of a diagnosis, and the in-person testing is usually just sort of finalising those thoughts and just testing, again, their movement and strength. Again, one of the advantages to online physio is, contrary to popular belief, we can actually provide more comprehensive testing than in-person physio, because typically in person, when I was working as a physio, you'd have maximum 30-40 minutes to look at someone in person, look at their movement, strength, balance, etc. Whereas online, I can get them on a 30-minute call. I can run through my subjective assessment, which is asking them a load of questions. I can get a pretty good idea of the diagnosis, and then I can send them straight into a test week if they're on the bespoke program. So that will be 3 to 4 days of testing, each lasting about half an hour. So if you compare the classic in-person physio, you're testing for about 30-40 minutes, whereas online, if you put them into a test week, you're getting 120 minutes, 4 times 30 minutes, 4 days of testing. So you've got 3 times the amount of data to work with, and therefore you can make the program a lot more tailored, a lot more comprehensive, and you can assess a lot more weaknesses as well. So what movements they're good at, what they're poor at, where their strength deficits are. It just provides you with a much better picture of who they are as a client and what their weaknesses are. Another advantage for the client is they save a lot of time. So instead of having to drive and actually see the physio, which could be an hour to 2 hours typically, because the initial assessment will be 60 minutes in person plus travel time, or they can jump on a 30-minute call with me, get the diagnosis, and then go into a test week. And then we've actually got a much more comprehensive picture of where the client is going. Again, people are really busy, and so they don't want to be spending time going to see a physio in person, or actually a lot of the stuff can be done online. The testing system online, in my opinion, is better than in-person physio. We have access to things like Fitter, again, where we can put 3 to 4 days of really comprehensive and detailed testing in place, keeping in contact via things like WhatsApp and Google Meets for checking calls as well. Whereas an in-person physio, again, you are testing initially in that 30 to 40 minutes, but the contact time, again, between that testing and then when you're next seeing them could be 3 or 4 weeks. So I also think the continuity of online physio, having that daily contact, and even if not daily, at least a weekly contact point where you're saying, yeah, I'm doing well, or I'm struggling with this exercise, so you can send videos over and I can actually have a look at them, as opposed to the physio testing you initially, having a good idea, sending you away with some exercises and other things to look at, and you're doing half of them wrong, and so you've wasted 3 or 4 weeks. Whereas if you're struggling with me at FCR, we can nip that in the bud straight away. You can send me a message, I'll reply to you within a few hours or half a day, and then I can adjust the program as needed if you're really struggling with something, or you're getting pain with a particular movement.